Logic is a multi-platinum and Grammy-nominated artist who is one of hip-hop's most successful acts of this generation. He has one of the strongest and cult-like core fan bases in the genre, but how did he get to this point? Logic started out as a traditional rapper, but over time came out of his shell and showed his true personality and character, showing his nerdy interests to the world in a space where hip-hop, where a nerd may not be accepted. His honesty within himself and his interests allowed him to gain an incredibly large fan base that may attract people that aren't the traditional hip-hop listener. He was the first rapper to indulge himself in the internet culture and collaborate with individuals in that space because he genuinely wanted to and was interested in that kind of stuff. The world watched Logic use the internet and his personal interests to connect to a non-traditional hip-hop audience, and the first rapper to ever do so. And around 2012, Logic would link up with the internet gaming collective you may have heard of called FaZe. With that, he dropped his music video to the spotlight wearing a FaZe hoodie that he just happened to wear because it was cold, and FaZe Temper had sent him the hoodie, and this would drop alongside FaZe Illcams 38, which actually had clips from the spotlight music video intertwined within the trickshot montage itself. Obviously, COD trickshot montage, this already solidified Logic's interest in gaming as a culture, and of course, Logic would get a huge boost from this, and this would show why, he was kind of the pioneer of this, because FaZe would, many years later, collaborate with artists like Lil Yachty, T Grizzly, Offset, Snoop Dogg, etc. And around 2014, when Logic's album Under Pressure would kind of be starting to come out, he would show his interest for some other pop culture genres, away from video games but more in the entertainment scene. With Futurama, Logic would drop Futurama-themed merch with his head in a jar.
This is a hard one. These are great fucking questions, okay? This is awesome. I'm not sure because I just love entertainment. And, I love Futurama, and I used to love The Simpsons when I was younger. I watched Family Guy, I watched, all different types of stuff. I think on Family Guy, my favorite character is probably Brian. I like his outlook on a lot of subjects and topics that they discuss in the show. But I also like Fry from Futurama and Bender, which is random. I don't know why. It's just, they're funny to me.
He would even get a dog in 2015 and name the dog Fry after the character from Futurama. And this interest in adult TV shows could also be shown in his old song Stewie Griffin that samples Stewie Griffin from Family Guy.
So, it's been 24 hours. Got my money? You know what? Just give me till next Friday. I'll have it for you.
And this side of Logic would really start to pop out in 2015 when he would release his album The Incredible True Story, which is a heavily sci-fi inspired concept album about the future and the last remaining survivors from Earth to search for a new planet to inhabit called Paradise. This really pushed Logic into the nerdy lane, as this was this sci-fi space adventure that a lot of people could really relate to. I mean, if you were into Star Wars, Star Trek, or anything like that, and you liked hip-hop a little bit, you probably would like this album. The day this album dropped, Logic even visited the FaZe house again, showing that connection and relationship has stayed solid, even to present day. And on this album, he got Steve Blum to voice Thomas, one of the space pilots in this concept album, who's within all the skits. He's also the voice of Spike Spiegel and Cowboy Bebop, one of Logic's favorite animes ever. That's actually how Logic found out about him. Tank Dempsey in Call of Duty Zombies, another Call of Duty connection there. Zeb in Star Wars Rebels, and Mugan in Samurai Champloo, and much more. Obviously showing a lot of Logic's interest, kind of reflected right there, and these guys have been great friends since. And in this album, Logic actually sampled the game Destiny. Thomas and Kai, the two actors who are in the skits, debate what Logic's favorite Tarantino movie was. Obviously, he was a huge Tarantino fan.
Favorite movie? Oh, shit. Pulp Fiction.
And Marvel even made a comic book version of The Incredible True Story cover art later on down the line. I mean, that's right down Logic's fans' lane. That was really fire to see when that came out. During this time, Logic really got into Rubik's Cube and kind of made this a part of his brand. I mean, he was solving Rubik's Cubes everywhere. He was solving Rubik's Cubes while freestyling with his eyes closed behind his back. On TV, Jimmy Fallon with FaZe Banks. Even, the FaZe connection, even more there, which is crazy to see. In 2016, Logic would start a gaming channel on YouTube, which embraces nerdy interests, playing games like The Last of Us, Super Meat Boy, Uncharted 4, GTA, Doom, etc. He'd have a room tour showing a plethora of nerdy and pop culture items like lightsabers and posters and movies and action figures, busts, all types of things. He would also collaborate with the energy drink G Fuel in 2016 for his own shaker cup, and most, if not all, of the other collabs at this time were with YouTubers, streamers, professional gamers, and this was the first hip-hop act to really get into that scene 2016, I mean, all it took was that FaZe connection. That gaming connection has really brought him a long way. He would drop the Bobby Tarantino mixtape this summer. Obviously, a play off Quentin Tarantino, huge Tarantino film, as we were talking about earlier. This mixtape would include the song Super Mario World, super inspired by 8-bit Mario games, has an ad-lib saying he beat Uncharted 4 in it as well, which is fire.
I just beat that Uncharted 4.
2017, Logic released the album Everybody, which is a much more serious take on hip-hop, and this obviously, this is where Logic blew up. He recorded this album in his home studio called The Batcave, huge Batman logo in it, and on this tour, he would play fans in Mario Kart on each stop of the tour, and he remained undefeated the entire time. He even played DashieXP, the YouTuber, he played Lil Yachty, other artists and fans all together on this tour. And of course, the song 1-800 off this album blew the fuck up, and it was parodied on South Park. More adult entertainment, just showing love to Logic.
Eric, we don't want you to die, Eric. Oh God, no, Eric. I don't want to live no more.
The image of Logic, it is pop culture. That's really the point I'm trying to get across in this video, is that Logic's image is pop culture. I mean, it really is. He would also appear on the TV show Rick and Morty on his cameo with his own song performing, which is just crazy.
Logic!
Oh, yeah!
Look at that. Jeez, I must have planned a whole party. Invited a bunch of people. Not bad, Drunk Rick. Not bad.
Are you ready? This a choo-choo train, man. He's rolling down tragedy. Everybody knows supernova fights. Yo, did I get paid yet? Woo!
Speaking of Rick and Morty, 2018, Bobby Tarantino 2 drops, and the intro is Rick and Morty. There's a skit, it's Rick and Morty. It's kind of crazy. That would also be the intro to his tour.
Cripple Rick, come on, baby. We've been in the ship for like 3 hours now. Well, Morty.
And this tour would also have a Street Fighter themed poster, which is pretty fire, and he would actually play Street Fighter against fans, much like the other tour, but instead of Mario Kart, this time he'd be playing Street Fighter on the tour. Around this time, Logic also got a tattoo based on Ready Player One, which is the book and movie based in 2045, where the world was ruined due to war and poverty, and people find an escape with a virtual reality called Oasis. Logic was also added in the acknowledgments section for the Ready Player 2 novel. Halsey and Logic would co-headline a concert in 2018 where Halsey would reveal that Logic had actually purchased a piece of her art before they were even famous, and this piece of art was Boba Fett, showing that Logic, he's always been a nerd, before the fame, he was still online buying a little nerdy shit like that, which is fire to see. 2019, Logic would drop Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which would include anime-inspired tour merch, the main inspiration being Akira, he was a huge fan of, which you can kind of see on a lot of the merch here. Logic later even starred in The Last of Us Part 2.
This bitch is fucked up.
I'm gonna be lucky if she lasts a month. Can we please just say we're done for the day?
Logic would get a new home studio, which included memorabilia from Back to the Future, with a collectible DeLorean, Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion Bus. I mean, what kind of video game or entertainment is this man not into? It's crazy. But what's even crazier is Logic actually voiced a stormtrooper in The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. He most likely got this placement through his friendship with film director J.J. Abrams, but the fact that Logic is in the credits and canonically in Star Wars, he's a stormtrooper. That's wild. That is wild to me.
Knights of Ren, gold.
Logic would also soon find a love for chess, which is seen as a pretty nerdy thing, but he would just find a love for it, and he would stream it on Twitch after No Pressure was released quite frequently, and he'd always play against fans and stuff like that. And speaking of No Pressure, he would show love to the character Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid franchise, having David Hayter, the voice of Snake, do a cameo on one of the tracks.
Hey Logic, Snake here.
Logic would also shout out his love for anime on the track Man I Is, listing his favorite anime as
Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, and Samurai Champloo.
Logic would reveal that he has an entire concept album with the cast of Cowboy Bebop, which includes Steve Blum from The Incredible True Story, but the parent company in the anime will not let him release it. Logic would also get another collab with G Fuel, multiple different shaker cups, and his own flavor, Bobby Boysenberry, and this was all after No Pressure dropped, where he was on Twitch. Logic was a Twitch streamer. Basically, he would play games with other famous streamers and YouTubers like Ninja, PewDiePie, Critical, Myth, XQC, Pokimane, and more. He'd also get interested in expensive Pokemon cards and would do opening pack live streams with Logan Paul. Logic would release his first Funko Pop figure with him in the Incredible True Story jumpsuit, which is pretty fitting. Logic even mentioned maybe getting Marvel to pick up the long-awaited album Ultra 85 storyline to create a comic line, but no information has really been released since that. That was just something he mentioned on stream one time.
The story, honestly.
Maybe I should just hit Marvel and do the whole thing as a comic book, and then do.
Bro, you sign it for me?
Yo, let me call. Who do we know at Marvel? I'm gonna call Zaru right now.
You know people at Marvel?
We know, yeah, because they did the Incredible True Story cover. Remember that?
What?
Marvel did an Incredible True Story cover.
What the fuck?
Watch, look.
And Logic would eventually drop a concept album under the name Doc D in 2021 called Planetary Destruction, where he alters his voice and embodies a ruthless planet destroyer who is called into a radio show and participates in skits throughout the album's runtime. And it's very pop culture. Everything I just listed here is very pop culture. I mean, the image of Logic is pop culture. It just, they go hand in hand. You know, if you're a nerdy guy who's into hip-hop, you were probably fucking with Logic. If you were a nerdy guy who wasn't really into hip-hop, you were probably fucking with Logic, which is just crazy to think about. But that's the truth behind the image of Logic, man. I mean, Logic's a new man now. He's retired now. Vinyl Days is out. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of on his own path. He's a family man now. But I wanted to document throughout his career how Logic has used his interest in pop culture to boost himself and his career by just being himself, man. Just being himself in the hip-hop space. Definitely a breath of fresh air. A bunch of hip-hop listeners, I'm sure, which is why he became one of the biggest artists to ever exist. But that's about all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any video, any updates like that. I do make videos like this all the time on hip-hop and stuff, so don't miss out on that. Go in the description, follow my TikTok, my Spotify, and not my Twitter. Still suspended for no reason. But yeah, it's been Bryce. Peace.
Can't I picture little Bobby, just a young run around with his bands, hammer in his hand, feeling like a man. Run for the pole, get the gun, put it in your